Hey, this is your clever and quaint YouTube expert, Daryl Eves. Now, I get asked a question probably 100 times a day. I swear I do. So whether it's on YouTube comments or in YouTube messages, they go and fill forms out on my website, or send me a tweet, or they even follow me to Facebook. Who follows me to Facebook? But the reality is there's a lot of you that want to be successful on YouTube, and honestly, you're thinking about it the wrong way. And in this video, I want to tell you probably the most important advice I can actually give you on my channel about being successful on YouTube. This is the advice that I give brands and businesses and actually some of the top YouTube channels in the world. And it's not necessarily what you think. So stay tuned. DarylEves.com. So most content creators on YouTube are actually thinking about it wrong. They want to be successful and they're worried about views, they're worried about subscribers, and they're really missing the point. The point is that you're not supposed to build a YouTube channel. That's right, you heard me. You don't worry about your YouTube channel. What you need to do is think about your brand. Now you're thinking, what does it mean to build a brand? Well, let me kind of explain. What you want to do is create something more than just a YouTube channel. It's basically a presence in the world that you're able to interact with an audience that's actually developed, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, doesn't matter. You're building some type of brand that people want to engage with and interact with. Now, you might not know this, but some of you do. I actually started a brand new YouTube channel, and it's one that I'm actually really excited about. It's called the Billkeyz. And the whole reason why it was done is because I'm a workaholic. I'll be honest with you. I work and work and work and work. And I really love what I do. I really do. And that's why I love to work. But my wife's like, oh no, you need to take off time. You need to get a hobby. I tried golf. It didn't work. So she's like, you know what? You should start a YouTube channel. So I actually did. It's called the Billkeyz. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to build something more. Even though it was a hobby channel, I wanted to create something more. And so when I actually started this, I kept it in mind, the 13 things that I actually consult a lot of the top businesses and brands and YouTube channels in the world to actually do. So if you're interested in this, it's gonna be a longer form video, and it's probably the best information I can actually give you if you're looking to be successful in creating an audience and really making a difference, getting your content out there. Now, the first thing is to be passionate. That passion needs to come within. I get asked all the time by a lot of people, Daryl, what should I do? What type of channel should I create? And the first question I always ask is, what are you actually passionate about? Now, in starting the Billkeyz, I knew what my passion was about. I grew up in a small town. We used to have some crazy fun with my friend. And I thought, hey, you know what? That's a great way to bring your passion and your love and bring it into a brand and really build something. And so figure out what your passion is. Figure out if you really like to do something. Figure out how you actually do it and what that actually look like. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have passion for it, it's not going to withstand the long nights. It's not going to withstand the editing that needs to be involved. It's not going to withstand the time that it's going to actually take to actually be successful on YouTube. Now, the second item is probably one of the most important ones, which is don't mimic. Okay, now when Devin Supertramp actually came out on YouTube, he became very successful, and there was an offshoot of thousands and thousands and thousands of people trying to do the same type of cinematic style that Devin Supertramp did. And honestly, it doesn't work. And I want to tell you why it doesn't work is because everyone is unique. Everyone sees life differently. And so this unique way, this unique perspective of what we actually do on YouTube can change the way that we actually attract an audience. And so don't mimic. You need to be authentic. You need to be unique. You need to be who you are. With the Billkeyz, you see the professional side of me. This is the professional side of me. I'm not that professional, but it's the professional side. On the Billkeyz side, guys, it's what my family sees all the time. They see the craziness that I actually do. And honestly, it is authentic. It is real. I'm not mimicking anyone. I'm just being who I am. And that's the really important thing that you need to take into consideration is don't try to mimic. You might learn a few things from Devin. You might learn a few things from other people on YouTube, and you might take bits and pieces, but you bring your own feel and create something that's yours and something that's authentic. And that authenticity is what really attracts an audience. Now, the third item is to know your audience. Now, you might say, Daryl, I don't even have an audience. Yes, you do. you might be the audience. So for me with the Geekify guys, I am the audience. This is the type of content that I'd actually consume and share on YouTube. So I actually know a little bit about myself. I know my passions because I'm passionate about it. So I know how to engage it. But the reality is my audience are people that love video games. My audience are people that love crazy competitions. They like the wilder side of YouTube. They like to see great people come together and have fun in these settings. And so knowing that audience is really important. And you can go down into very specifics of millennial, the millennial males or millennial females or, the different demographics from there and really understanding that. But honestly, the more that you can understand your audience, the more that you know where they congregate online, the more that you know what their concerns and their worries about, things that they find funny, the things that they really engage with the type of content, is going to give you better power and information to actually make content that would be engaging and people would want to share it. Number 4, speak to your audience. Now, this one's probably one of the more important ones because when you're actually bringing your visual representation and your language together, it can really engage a community and really get people involved. And that language is really important. And what that actually means is, certain words and certain things and certain phrases that would connect people together, that they feel like they're a part of something a little bit bigger than that. So let me give you an example. We're all a part of YouTube. If you're watching this video, more than likely you're a content creator on YouTube and you understand some of the YouTube terminology and you understand everything about YouTube. Now, if I tell you to subscribe, you would understand that. There are people in the world that watch YouTube that don't understand subscribing because they're not a part of this community and they really don't get it. They really don't understand it. It's just like a place to watch it, but they didn't know that you can actually subscribe. So being a part of a community, there's certain language that's used, and this language can really bind people together because they feel like they're a part of something a little bit greater. And when that happens, that's where those evangelists go out and really say, hey, come be a part of our community. This is just super amazing. Number 5, tell your story. Now, this is a really important one, especially for getting your brands to be powerful and people are emotionally connected to it. They want to know how you actually got there. What trials, what tribulations, what successes that you actually had along the way. They want to know about that. And so if you're able to connect with your story in your content and also maybe making a video about how you actually got started is a very, very big deal. Now, you might say, okay, we're just getting started and we're trying to figure things out. Well, that's great. Well, you need to be able to connect with them and people need to know how you actually got to the point that you're at and what you actually want to do, and they feel a part of it. They feel emotionally connected with it, and that's where it really is successful. Now, think about some of the most powerful brands in the world, one being which, Apple. I mean, they literally have fanatics, and I'm an Apple fanatic, and there's a lot of people out there that are Apple fanatics, and they know the story of Apple, how they started in a garage, the trials and tribulations that they had, the successes that they had, when Steve Jobs got kicked out of his own company, when he came back and rescued the company, and where they're at today. That's the story that's being told time and time again. And the best person to tell that story is you. Number 6, find ambassadors, not collaborators. Now you might say, what's an ambassador? Well, let me kind of explain what an ambassador is. And I'll kind of relate it back to the Geekify guys since it's fresh, it's new. I wanted to find people that would be passionate about our brand. The brand, the Geekify guys. And so we were out scouring the internet, trying to figure out people that we were connected to, friends and acquaintances and other people. And we wanted to find people that would be passionate about our brand. I wanted to find people that would be passionate about what we're actually doing. And we reached out to them and we had people fly all over the world and come to be a part of the Geekify guys before we even actually started a YouTube channel because they had passion around the brand that we were actually building. And what that passion does, if they have a really good experience and really involved with this, then they become ambassadors. They'll say, oh, you got to do something with the Geekify guys, or you got to do this. These guys are smart, or whatever it may be. And they're really becoming an ambassador, telling people all about the brand. Now, I do that every time. I'm an ambassador for a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of businesses and so on, because I get what they're trying to do. And I want to share with other people how cool they really are. Number 7, be consistent. Now you might think, okay, consistency of publishing schedule. Well, that's not what we're actually talking about. If we're actually building a brand, the consistency of a publishing schedule is only one component of what we're actually talking about. Now, what we want to know about being consistent is be consistent in your messaging, be consistent in the way that your video formula, be consistent in your graphics and how you engage audience. Be consistent in your language. Be consistent in how you actually comment on your YouTube videos. Be consistent in really reaching out and connecting with audience members. That's what it means to be consistent. And I think the more that you can actually do that in creating a brand, then it really helps define and get more ambassadors to really bring people into this community. Because that's what we need. We really need ambassadors that would say, hey, you guys gotta check these guys out. They're amazing, and they really feel connected. And that's where the consistency comes in, so that when they come in, it's consistent with what the ambassador is saying. So whether it's your artwork on YouTube, but it's also the same on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it may be, you're being consistent in how you approach things and in your brand. Number 8, do nice things. Now you might say, what in the world does this have to do with building a brand? It has everything to do with building a brand. And now what I mean by that is there's nice things that you can do as a brand to give thanks to your community. Okay, one of the easiest, it's really the easiest, is to comment on your videos. Now, whether you have a lot of people commenting, which I do, you might pick how much time that you'll actually designate to comment and educate your viewer and let them know when you're actually doing it. One thing that I really like is on Brooklyn and Bailey's channel and any of the McKnight's channel, they do something called the Power Hour. So their community knows that for an hour after they release a video that they're actually gonna be commenting. That's something really nice because they know that they can connect with that content creator at that time, which is really cool. Now, other ways to do nice things is I might be heading to a conference and I'll connect with subscribers there. I'll take them out to dinner or buy them lunch, whatever it may be. Doing these nice things really will make the difference. Other ways to do that is do giveaways, do signatures, things that your audience would really love. Those are the nice things what people are actually looking for that will help build that community, that help strengthen that community and really build those ambassadors, because those ambassadors are what will really bring in a lot more people in your audience. Number 9, educate the viewer. Now, this is actually a tough one for all marketers, including myself, because we get all these great ideas and sometimes we break something that actually is working because we're like, oh, we got to try this. Well, no, if it's working, don't deviate from that. Now, starting a brand new YouTube channel, we started with the Geekify guys, this brand, and every Tuesdays we actually have crazy competitions, and Thursdays we have gaming videos. Now, the dilemma that I actually faced just recently is, man, I want to gain momentum and I want to put my best videos first. And so I thought about releasing dirt bike jousting on Tuesday, and then Thursday would be shooting drones with shotguns. And honestly, that's what was going to happen. And I was going back, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm really breaking this rule that I set up in building a brand. That education value would be gone. And you might think, oh, okay, well, you're starting a new YouTube channel. They're not going to do anything. They won't even give it a second thought. Well, no, it does make a difference, because I'm trying to educate them that every Tuesday we do crazy competitions and every Thursday we do gaming videos. And if I change that at all, it really breaks the education. And there's other ways that you need to educate your viewer so they actually have an understanding. So if they know that every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time that we're releasing a crazy competition, they're going to congregate to that. Even if they don't get the notification, they know, oh, today's Tuesday, I need to check this out. Also, another way to educate your viewer is to have these video creation formulas so your videos feel the same. Now, if you watch TV, you watch sitcoms, you watch the different things that are there, they actually use a formula. And if you really write it down of what actually happens in an episode, the structure is always the same. It literally is. They're taking them through an educational process through this of what they're going to expect. However, why they come back is because they have that familiarity of the content, but they don't know what's going to happen in the formula. They know that, oh, okay, there's going to be a hook. There's going to do this or they're going to do that, and it takes them through watching the whole piece of content. So there's several ways you can actually educate your viewer. You can do that through your cover art, putting your information of when you post. You could do it verbally. You can say, hey, this is when it comes out. But you can also be consistent in making sure that you're delivering your content how you're supposed to deliver. Now, with this education of the viewer, this is something that you always need to look at. Is this actually going to break the model of your brand by doing something that's different? Number 10, understand messaging. Now, this is one that I actually focus in on a lot. I mean, several times a day, because it's a really integral part of being a marketer, is understanding the messaging. All brands have specific goals that they'd like to achieve. When you're creating content, you want to be able to have a specific goal of what that content's good for, right? And the message will help you attain the goal that the brand actually has. And the brand might be a personality, it might be whatever it may be, right? Now, the biggest lesson that I actually learned from a client on this was one of our clients, the Billkeyz. Now, way back in the day, they were doing a video on YouTube. It was just beautiful. It was really engaging. And as an outro to get people to subscribe, they actually had this fight scene take place between Steven Sharp Nelson and John Schmidt. And let me tell you, it was internet gold. It was some of the funniest things that I ever seen. And I'm like, oh, this is just amazing. Now, to the credit of the Billkeyz, and this is a lesson that I actually learned from them, is it really deviated from their ultimate goal. Steven Sharp Nelson, the cellist, says absolutely not. This is literally deviating from what our goal, our mission, our purpose is as a brand. And they didn't put it in. Even though that I found it extremely funny and engaging and it would take people off guard, he was smart enough to say, you know what, this doesn't coincide with our brand, so we're cutting it. Wow. Now that taught me a lot of lessons there, especially for this specific concept, is, people that are really successful on YouTube understand what their brand is and what they will or will not do in the messaging of their brand. Number 11, work on social reach. Now, this is one that most content creators don't do very well, is what you need to do is worry about things off of YouTube. Don't worry about things on YouTube. I know that seems really weird, but it's true. What you need to do is make sure that if you're building a brand, that brand has a Facebook page, that brand has an Instagram account, that brand has a Snapchat account, that brand has a Twitter account, and you're active on it. Now, you might be the main hub, the most activities happening on YouTube, but the way that you need to interact with the world is increasing your social reach. You need to increase your followers on Facebook. You need to increase your followers on Instagram. Why? Because when people are coming to you, and the best way to actually make money on YouTube is when people come to you and say, hey, we'd like to reach your audience, you need to have an audience off of YouTube. And sometimes the product doesn't really work in your video content, but it might work on your Instagram account. It might work on your Snapchat account. It might work on a Facebook post. And that's why it's really important to build that brand. Also, probably the biggest reason why I would say, hey, focus in on off of YouTube to help benefit YouTube is this one reason. If you can bring people onto YouTube to watch your content first, you get a lot of love from YouTube. Not a lot of people understand that, and that's probably one of the biggest ranking factors that you have. How much traffic do you bring to YouTube and how long do they actually stay on? So really developing that social reach is really, really important, and not so much about the YouTube views, because it'll take care of itself if you really build your brand across the internet. Number 12, analyze and adjust. Now for me, this is where I actually make a living. This is what my company does. We actually analyze a lot of data, and we get hired to analyze data and give suggestions or consulting for the adjustments that a brand, business, or YouTube channel needs to make. And the biggest thing that I found with a lot of content creators is they don't give much time in the analytics. They really don't know why certain things are doing. You need to know why this post is doing better than another post. You need to understand why this video is doing better than another one. You need to understand where the audience retention is, why there's higher retention here and not retention here. We have all these tools to help us become better creators and really strengthen our brand, but some of us don't even use it. Now, I was talking to a YouTuber not too long ago that really was analyzing the data, but they didn't adjust. Adjusting is just as much as important as analyzing. He was like, hey, give me some consulting. So we were talking back and forth, and he ranked really good for a lot of key terms. And the most viewed videos that he actually had on his channel were within this one specific niche. By the end of the night, I'm like, this is how I would adjust if I was you in this situation. I'd create more content around this and the story around this niche. And he did it. And things are starting to improve. He's getting more views. And that's what it means to analyze and adjust. Now, keep in mind that adjustment needs to coincide with your passion. It needs to coincide with your mission. It needs to coincide with your brand. And the last one is never give up. Now, I've talked to a lot of successful creators on YouTube in building these brands, and I ask them a lot of questions. And one of the questions was there a point that you're about to give up? And every single one of them said yes. And they were so grateful that they didn't, because it really changed their life. They were very determined to do it. My thing to you is, if you're really passionate about this and you've really gone through the 13 different things and you really have an understanding of, building a brand, and you're really, analyzing and adjusting, and you understand your messaging and you're growing this audience, then don't give up. Give it your all. If you need to stay up a couple extra hours, it's just sleep, right? Take a little bit more time, educate yourself, understand what you're actually doing, and that's how you become successful on YouTube. So this is some of the most valuable information I can actually give you, and I hope you learned something. If you learned something, put what you learned in the comments below, and let me tell you what I'm actually doing. I'm actually putting together a lot of information, how to strengthen your brand or develop a brand and have it spread across the world and really develop an audience. And the hub of that will be on YouTube. So head on over to the Geekify Guys YouTube channel and see those elements that we actually talked about in this video, if they're being applied in creating a brand on YouTube and across the internet, because we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Go ahead and check it out, give you a little sneak peek of what we're actually going to go over a lot more in depth. So go ahead and have a productive and helpful day.